What's up everyone, I'm back and this time with my very first ranking, and I figured since I just cleared Metroid for the second time and I'm working on a third playthrough that I couldn't leave this game without ranking the bosses. I love the challenge of overcoming bosses in any game, but this one gave me a different feeling of accomplishment. Of course I'll be doing more than just ranking the bosses. I'll be working on ranking each area and then I'll move on to the next game. My rankings will be based off 2 full playthroughs of the game, and of course each ranking will be my own opinion and what I experienced in the game. Everyone experiences something different and has different skill levels, so I would definitely love to hear about your experiences in the comments below. So from easiest to hardest boss, here we go at number 10. I'd love to say that this boss was a great challenge, but this guy is a joke at best. This is one of the only bosses I didn't have to use my charged attack to beat. He starts off with 2 basic moves. The first move is the thrust attack that starts when he spins his spear. As soon as you see the spin, simply jump over him. But be careful, because if you jump too soon, you'll get hit by the spin. Jump too late and you'll get speared. The other attack, he'll jump to the wall on either side of the arena and try to drop thrust wherever you're standing. This attack is easy to bait though. After he takes enough damage, the X-Parasite will widen the opening in his mouth and his thrusts come with a longer reach. However, the time you get to jump over him is way more forgiving, but if you don't take the opportunity, be prepared to get smacked harder than with a normal thrust. And when this X-ridden Chozo warrior jumps to the wall this time, he'll jump to the center of the arena for a ground pound to send a shockwave of X-goo at you. Now, if you watched my review, I talked about the lazy boss design. You'll encounter these warriors 5 times. Of course, after the first 2, they add on more elements to the next 2 because they have some of the same movesets, but now they have shields. Still nothing to worry about though. They do have a shield attack that takes quite a bit of life energy, but there is a window where you can parry that attack to break the shield. And not only that, but now when they split their face into 2, they spit X-goo at you and do random downward stabs at you. Oh, think this is it? Nope, because the 5th variant is an elite. What makes this golden super X-Parasite warrior a threat? Now you have to use the grapple beam to take down the shield rather than parry it away. Still easy though, and after doing enough damage to all of them, it will send you into a parry cutscene where if you carry out the parries correctly, will have them deep throating your blaster for the finish. This one was a little bit of a hassle for me at first, and if I had the footage from my first playthrough, I could have shown you all that I tried everything with this guy. I tried jumping over him, rolling into a ball to get underneath him, and I even tried hitting him with bombs. I tried everything except sliding underneath him to escape his gigantic claws of death. I was so confused before I figured this out, because all this guy is just a bigger, stronger variant of a common enemy. When you first enter the arena, the X-Parasite will give you the weakest and strongest variants of this common enemy. As soon as it figures out that you can beat them both, it says, screw it, I'm going supersized on you. And all in all, it's still an easy fight though. Once this boss is created in the arena, it will more than likely charge you. Simply slide underneath as soon as you see the claws raise up, then proceed to work out the backside. However, the second attack seems like it was made for anyone who thought that you could just sit behind this gigantic crab and think that you can just get free shots. After you dodge its charge attack, sometimes it will ground itself to fire bombs at you. There are 2 variants. One will home in on you and explode in a cross-shaped pattern. Easy to bait, but if you get caught up in attacking this crustacean, then it can be pain. The second variant, it will fire 4 bombs, either in a square shape or diagonal pattern, all in which explode in 4 different directions simultaneously. All you have to do is jump over the creature while it's stationary and you're safe. Hit it enough times and it will turn into a misshapen X-Parasite that you can hit to recover any energy or items you lost and end it for the win. Gotta love the return of an old-time favorite. Seriously, there are so many versions of Kraid, it's not even funny. Still, it's nice to see him again, and most of all, it's nice to put him down again. I know a lot of you may question his placement on this list, and I have to admit that it was tough to find him a placement because he's not hard, but with the other 2 bosses that are just as easy if not easier, I had to give him this one. He's fairly simple that in the first phase, he'll just throw his claws at you and spit up orbs and more claws that you can shoot to recover lost items and health. In the second phase, he'll shoot projectiles that once again you can shoot to recover. Shoot him in the stomach and he'll go old school on you by shooting out platforms that you can use to get to his face. Do more damage and he'll shoot out the platforms in the opposite direction and he'll get acid reflux that spreads out where you stand. More damage and he'll drop the blue climbable surface that you can use to get a free shot at him with. Don't stay on too long because he'll still throw claws at you. However, there is a point where he will take a swing at you and you'll be able to parry him. Enough damage and you'll send this gigantic space pirate to his lava grave. When I dropped into this arena, I had no idea what I was landing into, and if I wasn't bad enough at running through watery areas already, then fighting in one surely was that much worse for me. That's really the only reason why this boss is this high on this list. At this point, you still don't even have the gravity suit, and timing is everything. At the start, one of two things could happen. You'll either be met with the fastest hentai scene underwater, or this nautical creature will send its balls at you. Of course, if it's the latter, you'll be met with one red ball that can't be destroyed and two blue ones that can be. This is the perfect opportunity to recover because it does this 3 to 4 times with this attack. This is also the perfect opportunity to do damage to its top tentacle, which is the only reason why you're submerged in the first place. The other attack, it will reveal its other tentacles, 2 of which try to pimp smack you into next year. This is where timing comes into play. Jump as soon as you see one shake, but after you dodge the first backhand, be ready to dodge the second one, which comes a couple of seconds after the first. Once you give that top tentacle the wet floor, hit the button on the side that you're on that will be behind you, then use the grapple beam for the blue surface to get to the other side. Once you get to the other side, make sure your weapon is charged to hit the other button. I'll admit that I was confused about this at first because I didn't know they existed. Not only did I not know these buttons existed, but I tried to use the blue surface without hitting the button to drain the water halfway. So this took me a while to figure out, and I kept getting hit by the top tentacle in its recovery. Once you hit both the buttons, the arena will be drained of all the water, which it will spit its tongue out and reveal its weak spot. Once you get a couple of shots in on its weak spot, be ready to counter the tongue so that you can get another shot in. After a while, it will use 3 tentacles to try and impale you, and the balls will change from 1 red to 2 red with 1 blue destructible ball. With the hentai thrust, use your grapple beam to dodge and position yourself well enough to destroy the blue ball and keep giving it the business. Once this battle is done, it will shrivel up and you'll be able to walk in a water-free zone. I don't give first bosses their just dues, but I have to say this was an excellent first boss. Not only was the cutscene amazing, but the fight itself kept me on my toes almost all the way through. This is also one of the 2 bosses that has a third phase. This misshapen creature starts off swinging its tail, spitting its acid, and forcing you to bait its tail when it tries to go for the stab attack. Of course, you should have the charge beam and missiles to hit its weak spot, which is its face. Of course, there's a tiny catch here. While you're doing your best to try to dodge everything and get a few good shots in, it moves its head up and down to throw you off. It doesn't do it fast, of course, but if you're used to taking mid shots, don't get too comfy. This only gets worse because in the second phase it will be invisible and you have to dodge the same attacks as the first phase. Except you won't just have to hit its face. You can choose to go for the glowing tail of death. Hit the tail and it will become visible again. Soon after you smack it a few more times, the third phase comes in. This phase, it starts invisible only to reveal, wait, that's not a face, that's its tail. That's right, you'll be met with its tail in your face waiting to squash you. Simply slide underneath it and you'll be given the chance to counter it for some free shots. Also in this phase, it'll interchange between being visible and it will vomit acid all over the floor. Just stick to the blue surfaces on the side, but be careful, stay too long and it will charge you. Other than that, just wash, rinse, and repeat hitting the face and tail to make this deformed creature disappear for good. First off, this creature with a 20-foot pole. That's right, I can't stand this flying abomination. For one, this boss doesn't even have much of a moveset, but what it does have can hit you like a ton of bricks if you're not careful. 2, this fight takes forever to get through. And since this nuisance of a gnat's moves are all bait attacks, you have to be a master baiter if you want to make it all the way through this fight. No, seriously, it has spikes that home in on you that you have to bait to dodge, an orb attack that you have to bait, and if you don't bait it in the right place, it'll shock the floor, and one of the most frustrating charge attacks that you won't see coming sometimes if you're in the middle of baiting its other attacks, that you also have to bait. It wouldn't be so bad if it weren't for the fact that after a couple of attacks, it didn't put up a shock field around itself to prevent you from damaging it. Same concept as Gozuna though. Attack it enough and it turns into its ex-parasite self and you can just blast it away. This fight is another example of a bait battle, and this guy does so much damage for being your third boss fight in the game. He comes equipped with a blast attack that comes at you in various speeds, a charge blast, a ground blade attack that turns red that you have to jump over before he swipes up. Oh, and that happens in either a delayed form or almost instantaneous speed, and a charged sword slash attack that you can parry that will stagger it to give you an extra shot in. Oh, and the blast attacks can be baited. In this fight, the arena is your best friend. Never stay in one area because it's not advantageous to do so, seeing that its ground blade attack takes up all of your jump space. What really makes this boss so difficult is that it's so unpredictable. I couldn't figure out its blade attacks and when I could counter them, so I basically just ran around the arena and let it chase me to get some damage in. Oh, but wait, there's more, because as you progress through the game, another one will pop up out of the blue. The second one has the same attacks, but a much bigger arena to maneuver around it. That's right, the first arena is so damn small that you'll wonder how you're even going to beat this mechanical powerhouse. Just keep shooting and pulling off the parry when you can, and this killer trash can will explode for the victory. Of all the creatures the ex-parasites had to take over, it just had to be this guy, didn't it? Remember that creature laid out in Darren? Yeah, that's Corpus, and when the ex-parasite gets released and starts running amok, this creature manages to freeze part of the planet. This creature has an arsenal of moves just waiting to wreck you. Bile, tentacles that take up most of the arena, a bite attack that if you parry you'll be taken on the world's craziest rodeo ride, more bile that you have to jump over, and what seemed to be an energy sucking attack that homes in on you. Thankfully you'll have the space jump to help you dodge most of this. After dodging, keep hitting it in the face, and when it's ready to suck the energy from you, shoot its tentacles to destroy them. Oh, and as the fight goes on, it gets smarter and tries to swipe at you with both tentacles at the same time. With all of the attacks it has and the damage they do, killing this Corpus wannabe will come with a very satisfying victory. OMG, if one wasn't bad enough already, now you gotta face 2 of these Roomba soldiers. While it is challenging, that's not the problem. It just seems like this was very lazy boss design to add extra challenge, but nonetheless same concept as before. Use the arena to your advantage to get past and do damage to these 2 tyrannical juicers. Oh, and just like the singular variant, you'll have to face these 2 later on as they pop up out of nowhere again. The one thing I'll give developers credit for is the fact that one of them will always give you a grace period to dodge while the others attacks. So it's very rare that they will attack at the same time. You'll also have the plasma blaster to deal more damage as well. Just watch your parrying time and jump around as much as you can to knock these tin cans back to the junkyard. Well, I'm sure to anyone that's beaten this game that his ranking doesn't come as a surprise. This is definitely an endurance fight, and seeing he is the other boss with 3 phases, you are definitely in for a long haul. The first phase is a DPS/parry battle. Dodging attacks are unavoidable and shooting a shield until you can parry your way to the second phase. The second phase is full of bait attacks from this flying maniac, and it's the longest phase ever. You will spend time flying in circles and dodging flying charge attacks and Kamehameha waves until you shot off his wing for the third phase. The third phase, he rips off his wing like a true psychopath he is and does the same thing as the first phase with a few extra attacks, all leading up to an epic cutscene in which I won't spoil. And that's it of the ranking of the easiest to hardest bosses in Metroid Dread. I'm interested to see what you all thought of my list. If you think there are bosses that should be higher or lower on this list, let me know in the comments below. Stay tuned because I will be doing a final ranking of the areas in Metroid Dread. Until then, you all be easy and I'll see you next time.